Are you?
The 2 Count, where comedy meets wrestling. Please comment, share, and like, and if you're watching the live stream, join us with your comments and questions. And now here are the hosts of the 2 Count, comedian John Russell, and wrestling broadcaster Big Ace.
You know, it's Tuesday night, and there is so much stuff going on with wrestling and otherwise that it's always hard to break away from things. We were both watching the Twitch feed of Impact Wrestling because we wanted to see if we could catch Kenny Omega on there before we started our show. Clearly, that's one of the biggest things in wrestling this week. See what Kenny Omega might have to do with Impact. And if you're like me, you've seen a lot of different things popping around the internet about it. By the way, John Russell here with you alongside a Big Ace. We welcome you to our show, The 2 Count. We're here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Central Time. Our special countdown discussion this week is going to be the women champions of the WWE, AEW, and NWA. And we'll rank them and tell you what we think of them. And obviously there's no honorable mentions, but I got to tell you, Ace, I watched the it's kind of funny. You and I have sort of split off where you'll watch AEW Dark on Tuesdays, and I end up watching NWA Shockwave. And I got to tell you,
I forgot that's still on.
It's still on. It's only been on 2 weeks.
That's what I mean, though. I forgot it was even on.
Yeah. Here's
but
the
like
thing.
the thing is, though, you don't, and this is where maybe NWA needs to step their game up. But it feels like they have very little or zero social media going right now for Shockwave.
Well, yeah,
I've seen so much about Impact, AEW, ROH, WWE.
They're getting lost.
Shockwave because I'm not even seeing it on like the Twitter or Instagram or anything.
Absolutely, they're getting lost. And the reason they're getting lost is when NWA Power started, they had a great thing going. They would have people do like guys like you and me that were doing shows would do little shout outs, and they put it on their show, which would get everybody invested and so they want to go see themselves on it. And then people started doing that kind of stuff, and it was a snowball. They're not doing that now. And I don't know if that's because they can't, or they've lost so much money, or are on such a shoestring budget at this point that they can't. I don't know how they're making any money other than their Patreon, where if you want to watch the show a day early, you pay them. And if you want to wait until Tuesday, then it's free. I mean, I don't know. I guess we could do that too and make the same amount of money as them. But which would be zero. But anyway, the reason I bring it up is because they are a bit behind. And if you want to watch who the obviously the current NWA champion is Serena Deeb, but this is filmed a while ago. And so Thunder Rosa was still the NWA champion. And I got to tell you, man, if you have an opportunity to go back and watch that last match, she and this Priscilla Kelly go close to 30 minutes, and it is fantastic. I mean, and to me, when we go on our list, Thunder Rosa belongs somewhere on there. She just doesn't have a belt, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but you get down there though. There's a few people, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
there's a few people. Like Bliss should be a title holder right now.
Well, Bliss
I very much think Dakota Kai should be having a title run in NXT right now.
And I think she probably will fairly soon. Don't you?
I hope so. I really hope so. She's had a really good year as a heel from War Game to War Game.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them like go up that extra step and actually get her in like a title picture.
Yeah.
Even a nice title run as a heel, you know? I think
absolutely.
Now speaking of talent, she really is.
Yeah. Now speaking of War Games, I got to tell you, I felt like the women's match outdid the men's match this year.
Okay, so first of all, I don't know, maybe it was just the night, but I felt this War Games did not match up to the last few.
No, I agree. It was a letdown, and I wonder if part of that is because of the way that the audience is. But
yeah, it most definitely could be, but I just felt like it wasn't as good as the previous War Games. That being said,
I felt like the women's was better than the men's. That was just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I liked certain things out of each match that I don't know. I think the ending, I don't know. I thought there'd be a better ending to the women's one though.
I'll be honest with you.
The finish just seemed to kind of just happen.
Exactly. I mean? It just happened. There was no sort of point to it.
Well, then if you're gonna put over, what's her name? To Raquel
Gonzalez.
I mean, obviously she's a bit of a bigger woman in that division.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of that talent. So it's like, I'd have loved to seen her do something really badass to put that match away. And it just felt like that didn't happen. Other than that, though, I mean, you see all the memes and gifs of it, but I mean, EO coming off the top in the garbage can.
That was insane.
Amazing. To be honest, I had even kind of like when we were doing that, thinking about for the list that we're doing, I kind of didn't really think about EO too much.
I was going to move her up.
Thinking about it, like I was like, And then I watched War Games. And I was like, oh, that's right. She is like actually freaking awesome.
She's badass. See the problem when we get to this list. The problem is,
yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say we have 3 Japanese wrestlers on there. Technically, and as wrestlers, they're fantastic. The big drawback is that their ability to cut a promo is not fantastic.
I agree, but I feel like Asuka and EO have done, and WWE's done a really good job with that.
Asuka has really improved her vocabulary. I don't know about EO so much, but I never remembered her as bad with her English.
No, but what's good about with EO is her gimmick doesn't really need her to say anything.
Right, exactly.
Badass. Like she says it with her movements and her actions.
Yeah.
You don't need her to really say much, to be honest. And I don't want to get too much into it because we'll do it when we actually get to the list. Shida, when I actually ended up sitting down and being like, where am I ranking these people? Shida just ended up being the one that I was just like, I don't even know why she's on here.
So here's the thing. I mean, and
I'm sorry,
we'll save it.
Anybody who's a fan.
We'll say, but I mean, here's the thing. I'm a fan of all of them, and you and I only differed at the bottom. And it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But having said that, let's. I mean, I don't know. Did you feel like the Winter is Here show made War Games kind of take a back seat?
No. I will say this now. I have no idea why the Cowboys are playing Andy Dalton. He has not proven to be anything.
Because they don't have anybody else.
But that Gary Gilbert guy we had when he was out on COVID, Dalton,
yeah,
he didn't win the game, but he played our best looking game since Dak went out. Why he hasn't gotten another start since? He just fumbled the freaking ball. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. You keep up with your game. I'll keep up with mine.
Stupid ginger.
No,
so I didn't think so because War Games, the match itself is such a
different thing.
A gimmick.
Yeah.
The plus thing is too, like there was some post stuff for Winter is Coming, which is that what we're getting into right now?
Winter is Here. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that quick.
So, like the stuff with that is initially great shot. I texted you even that night. I was like,
"Oh
wow,
yeah,
good." And I like that we did see. I felt this was the first Dynamite we've seen some really good storylines start to really form. A couple take a bit more pace, but I think we've seen a few new things actually start to form that can turn into something cool. And then obviously there's the Kenny Omega becoming the new AEW champion, leaving with Callis, and now they're going to be on Impact any minute now, I guess. I don't know. Anybody who's watching, by the way, and happens to be watching Impact, let us know if he comes on and what they end up saying.
Yeah. I would. I mean, here's the thing. We were watching it in studio before we started, and the problem is that if I continue to watch it and we can watch it on screen, the problem is that we automatically get booted and we're not live anymore. Mm-hmm. And then we got to take it out and after we're done anyway. So it sort of sucks. But point being, you had a ton of stuff happen in that from the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. Mm-hmm. You had this continuation of Hangman and the Dark Order, which actually I do too, and it's awesome. And if you watched Being the Elite, again, awesome.
Didn't I tell you though, like a few weeks back on Being the Elite, I thought he was in the background in that room that they're always in.
Yeah, you did.
Now he's like showing up in all their stuff.
Yeah.
I love it, and I'm down for a Hangman Brody match because obviously this is where that's going to lead. I feel like Brody comes back, Hangman's the new dude they're all loving, and it's going to lead to that. And I wouldn't be mad if Hangman took over the Dark Order. It would be hilarious.
It would be.
Because the other thing too is now they've all kind of established as their own people. So like Anna Jade doesn't need to be in the Dark Order anymore. Silver and I can't remember his partners. Reynolds, Silver and Reynolds, they definitely don't need to be in the Dark Order anymore. They can just be them. Yeah, and a lot of the Uno and Stu, those guys can all not be in the Dark Order and still be over right now.
By the way, I want to say one thing. Now I don't know if you've noticed this from the time that they debuted way back at All In, or was it All or Double or Nothing, or whatever the first one they did with AE. Just the show as a whole. I'm talking about Evil Uno. He has lost a crap load of weight. I don't know if you've noticed that.
No, yeah, definitely.
I mean, so much so that I began to wonder, is it the same guy?
Yeah. When you look at it too, I mean, are there really any big guys like that on Dynamite or on AEW's roster?
No.
Apparently they're not into the chubby people, so maybe that was some incentive when he got there. Is like, I better cut down.
Might have been. But the other thing is the and we had two flashes of the breakup or Guevara and MJF in the Inner Circle friction, which is awesome. We had friction between Matt Hardy and Private Party. There were a ton of great storylines developed in the Battle Royal. I just felt like I felt like that was probably the best show that they've had to date. And
I think it was. I think from a wrestling standpoint, storytelling standpoint, action standpoint, it was. There were some production things that happened that I was like, come on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There were a couple of spots where they were announcing that something happened.
When they had their like JR comes on, he's like, all right, we're going to break. And then all of a sudden it just was like 5 seconds too long. And it was just like Excalibur then starts to like talk because apparently they weren't going to break. Then all of a sudden they just went to break.
And then they cut them. Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. The time you've been doing it for a year. Get the timing down.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. It's changed from day one of doing this for a year now. Get the timing down. It's not you are starting to come off a little foolish, especially when you look at like how many of the people who helped produce the NXT shows, at least before pandemic era, because when you watched it then too on NXT on the network, the show was still solid.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Even from a production standpoint, and those I believe were Full Sail students.
Yeah,
working on that show. So, I mean, you've had a year. Come on.
Well, who knows? But To me, the fact that Sting came out, I absolutely, because I hadn't been looking at anything online, I absolutely did not expect that at all.
I don't think anybody was. I didn't see anything talking about Sting coming out. Like, that was a total surprise. Good on them for keeping that a secret. And it was really cool in the moment. It was a cool, like, oh man, because at first too, I was like, you know who I thought it was at first because of the winter, like the snow. It was winter's coming, and
Glacier.
I was like, if they're making this big of a deal for goddamn old ass Glacier to come out, I would be so just like, what the hell? Because when it happened, it felt like as soon as the lights went off, it was like, this has to be something pretty big.
Yeah,
this is gonna just be one of the guys from backstage coming out when the lights come on, because they're really building this show up. You've got 6 big names in the ring. You know, you've got, what was it, Starks, Hobbs, and Cage, and then you had Darby, Cody, and was it Dustin
Dustin, along with Arn and Taz were in there too.
They're all in there. So I mean, you know, you expected it to be. Like, when the lights went off, I was like, please don't be stupid. Please don't be like Marco Stunt comes out or something stupid.
Yeah.
So when Sting came out, it was like, oh, and it was like really cool.
It was.
The next day, when you see that he's appears to be going to be an active member of the roster, is where then I go, oh, it was a really great moment, but I'm sorry, I have no inclination to see Sting in another match. It's like Taker. I love Taker. But I think we can all agree Taker went a few years more than he really needed to do. And I feel Sting is the same thing. He didn't need the WWE run, and I get why he wanted it, and I understand it, which is why I wasn't mad at it. But he didn't need to do it because he wasn't in his prime.
Right. Well, no. Well, and he got hurt.
Right. And then he got hurt, and that went to shit. So then, first of all, now it makes you wonder, because when he got hurt there, he wasn't cleared. Well, it just wasn't that he was injured and not coming back. It was he wasn't ever going to be cleared again. Yeah. So what the hell happened between that and now that he's cleared to wrestle for AEW?
Well, the story is that he had spinal stenosis, Sheamus, I believe, has had, and numerous other wrestlers, and I think he had surgery. And apparently it's now, whereas 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it wasn't a correctable surgery. It wasn't a correctable condition. I believe it is now, or at least they're willing to take a gamble on it.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that then he did that, and that's cool. But
he's too old. I mean, you're not gonna get an argument from me about it.
Well, and the other thing too here is, I'm sorry, but again, you have so much talent sitting there in AEW, so much young talent that could be used. Why are you bringing, like, I get bringing Sting in and maybe making him be like a manager / backstage producer, all that jazz. I get that. Why do you feel, Tony Khan, Cody Rhodes, why do you feel that he needs to actually be in the ring wrestling with you guys?
Well, let's be honest. It might be that he was the one that negotiated it. You want me? Here's what I want.
And that's fine. But then at a certain point, though, you still got to be like, bro, do you realize how old you are? Do you, like, look at your last matches? Like, look at the people we have sitting on the sideline right now.
Yeah.
Why? It's not going to happen. Here's our thing. We're not going to sacrifice our product and talent because of that.
Here's the only thing. When I watch that, and I watch that Darby Allin, who, to be honest, I'm not a fan of. When I watch the amount of time that he took with Darby Allin, looking him over as opposed to the rest of them, it made me kind of think, all right, is he going to become Darby Allin's mentor, or are they going to clash?
When I saw it, my first thought was, I hope to God this means he's going to be like his mentor, like manager. They're going to do their little thing together.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, a day or two later, when it comes out on AEW.com that they have his picture up and he has a wins and loss record by his picture, it's like, oh, he's going to.
Well,
Guess he's wrestling Darby.
I'll just say we'll see. We'll see.
Well, and the other thing too is Chris Jericho also. I don't know if it was him or AEW. One of them tweeted or Instagrammed a photo of Sting's face and Jericho's face when he has the eye paint.
Oh,
kind of trying to like build those two. So yeah, who knows where they're gonna go with it. Plus, so here's the other thing though too is, again, I don't want to see Sting wrestle. Like, why are we doing this? You're already doing some other stuff. You know what I mean? You already did the Tyson thing. His match is over. I'm sure that's going to be something that materializes eventually. Shaq's going to be on Dynamite tomorrow, so that's apparently finally going to.
Tomorrow's actually been huge because you have Sting and Shaq.
Right. So, I don't know. I just feel like there's no need for him to be in ring action. There's just no need, especially when that's taking another spot that they need to finally start finding time to make this women's division start growing.
Yeah.
We saw some good stuff out of Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and that finally was like, all right, finally, we're going to get like a solid feud, and it's going to be a good one. I'm going to enjoy watching these two build to this. But I mean, how often does that happen in this women's division so far? And now you're bringing,
they don't have enough bodies.
Right. Well, but that's just it. They have the bodies. They're just not doing anything.
No, I disagree. I don't feel like they have enough women to pull it off. If you watch some of the women but I watch some of those dark matches between women, and some of them are very, very clunky. I mean you've only got,
but that's like half. But you got to look at like.
But you've only got
like Reba with Britt Baker is an active wrestler, but she doesn't wrestle. Veda Scott, that they've used for a lot of things, is an active wrestler, but they don't let her wrestle.
Right. Well, I think Veda's contract is done with them anyway.
Right. But I mean, Brandy Rhodes is a wrestler, but she hasn't really gotten any ring time really lately.
Right.
You know what I mean? Statlander was backstage, so hopefully that means she's coming back soon.
She still had her knee brace on though.
Rio's
still in Japan, I think.
But she's apparently still under contract.
Well,
you got Sheeta she's your champ, but you haven't done anything with her. And to be honest, it's in my eyes, it's hurt her.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why she ranked the lowest on my list. Because there's just nothing about it that I'm like excited for. So I don't know. Like I said, I think especially because they only have a 2-hour show.
Yeah,
that's the thing. All you got to do is feature one more women's match on Dynamite and throw some storyline into it. Because right now we're getting one. I swear there's been some Dynamites where we don't even get one women's match.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So it's
anyway. So let's move on because we're getting close. We don't want to run out of time. And then of course Kenny Omega beats Moxley in a pretty good match. I felt like it was neither of their best matches, but it was good.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
And I will say, pardon me, go ahead.
A lot of knees.
Yeah, a lot of knees. But I will say this. The deal with Don Callis and the microphone was pretty clunky.
Oh, and he was like, give me a microphone.
Yeah. Well, when he goes down with the microphone and somehow, I mean, to be honest, when I watched it, I thought it was just like he got hit and it fell in the ring and Kenny picked it up. I didn't understand until after the match was over that he somehow purposely got the microphone to Kenny. That's not what I thought.
Oh, that's right. He hit him with a mic.
Yeah. That's what busted him open.
Yeah. You'll have to remind me, was this what match? Oh, okay, never mind. That was on War Games. Thatcher and Ciampa.
Oh yeah. He got it. That was insane.
Now I couldn't tell. Did he cut it? Was it an inner ear thing? No, or was it cauliflower that popped?
I think it was cauliflower that popped.
That was nasty looking.
Oh yes. Well, it's like. Do you remember that Kimbo Slice that used to be an MMA fighter? Yeah. So there was one match he had against, I don't remember who the hell it was, but some dude that had a great big lump of calcium on his ear, and all he did was punch him in it and just keep punching him in the air until it just started, and then they called it.
Yeah,
because he busted the shit out of that.
I think there was a UFC women's match where she kicks the chick in the ear and like busted it up, and like it actually like her ear almost fell off.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Well, that's why Mick Foley has only a chunk of his ear left.
Right. Yeah. So, and I don't know. I'm not watching anything, so I guess we don't know. I think Impact must be what, 7-9.
7-9, I'm assuming. Yeah. So if we can get done, so we can watch the end of it.
Well, and I'm just curious, like, because the other thing too is Tony Khan's going to be on it.
Yeah. So here's what I think. The internet community is saying that it's going to be kind of like WCW and WWE were, except they're actually going to do it. But I don't think that they've got that much.
What do you mean?
So there's going to be that somehow Impact takes over AEW, which is why Sting is there.
So he's really signed to Impact on that. Yeah, that's
no. He signed to AEW, but if you go back to the story where it was NWO versus WCW, it was Sting and it was Goldberg that were the saviors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, let's be honest. I don't think there's a whole lot of fresh content when it comes to these long-term storylines. Everything's recycled.
Well, and I think the unfortunate thing though for like right now is if that's what they're really going to do, is that this might be the first time AEW gets some real harsh criticism as far as like, hey, you guys are really kind of just now doing what WWE's done.
I just want to see what they do, and that's I mean I hear things, and obviously stuff that you hear are not from people that are inside.
What I would like to see happen, and a couple of people I've talked to on the inside have kind of agreed with me, is I don't need this. I don't need it to be a storyline. Instead, just come out and be like, hey, this day, we're going to do one pay-per-view, and we're going to bring together AEW, Impact, New Japan, ROH guys, NWA guys. We're going to do one big super show. We're going to give you dream matches. It's going to happen once a year. We'll do like a 2-month lead-in when we're out, from that one show a year.
Yeah.
Otherwise, go back and do your thing. Like that would work when it's companies going against companies, not this Raw versus SmackDown crap.
Yeah, and
I think the talent would love that because it's well, hey, you just come out, you have a big chance of coming off looking foolish. We've already talked about how Impact's great and the talent in that locker room's amazing.
Yeah.
But they've done some foolish things lately, just some very cartoony things that, to be honest, isn't something that I would really want to watch. Like the wrestler's house and the whole murdering whatever the dude's name was that was marrying. Like, and I get it. Yeah, WWE did these things too, but like, I don't know. It came off really corny.
Yeah.
It's just like, especially for AEW, who's trying to like make their name. And let's be honest, you can talk ratings and whatever, but at the end of the day, yeah, they do want ratings and they are out to beat WWE. That's the main one in their target.
Absolutely.
So what is this doing? And I've seen people debate this online this week. And I've seen some fans be like, whatever, it's just good for everybody involved and blah, 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 blah. But when you sit back and look at this in a business point of view, and you have network contracts that you're dealing with, and all these things that WWE and AEW have to deal with, is this really good for business? When you look at what they did, they left you hanging to come watch Impact tonight.
Mm-hmm.
How is AEW benefiting off this? They not only are they like,
hey Chris,
not only are they telling you to watch Impact now on Tuesday to see what's going to happen, they're also telling you to watch Impact on Tuesday, what's directly competing with their premiere of AEW Dark, first of all.
Yeah.
So now they're telling you to watch this over that, and I get it. It's on a streaming service. People can just go watch it back. But still, you want to see a good number when you premiere it. And then again, just there's a vast difference in the numbers of people who are watching AEW and Impact.
Yeah.
So again, you're sending all those people AEW to again, just where. And, we don't know where the storyline's going to go. So, I mean, maybe there is going to be a big payoff that AEW does come out of this looking great. But just from what happened on Dynamite till tonight, it's like Impact really looks like the winner right now.
Well, and obviously,
this.
But here's the other thing. We don't know what backstage deals they're making either. And
we don't. And from what the overall consensus for AEW is, from what I've always heard, is that they are literally willing to work with anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because after all this happened, there was a conference call with Triple H, and he got asked about it. And asked if he would ever work with AEW or another company. And it was funny because he's like, yeah, I know everybody thinks we would never do it. And he's like, but we are literally open to anything that is a smart business decision.
Yeah.
He's like, if it makes sense and we're all going to be making business out of it, we're open to anything. He's like, but we're not going to do anything that's not going to benefit us either.
Yeah.
I do it then. And it's a good point, especially again, too, Impact, ROH, NWA. These guys aren't dealing with these network contracts like WWE and AEW are dealing with. So you got to look at, hey, Turner Network, how do you feel about them? And again, I don't know, maybe Turner owns access and they don't care and it's all intertwined. But I also feel like that would have been a point that would have been made since Wednesday to today online, at least. So
I would say for sure that Time Warner is involved.
Maybe
I'm sure that they're involved.
Like I said, if they were like sister stations, I think we would have probably heard about that already.
Well,
so maybe not. I don't know. But
what I'm saying is, like, if Fox was asked to do something with, so like USA is Universal, NBC Universal, I believe, and Fox is not. They're clearly okay to work stuff between the two of them because it's the brand,
right?
I don't know if Fox would be willing to work with TNT, but I mean, obviously, if it's good for them, they wouldn't care. But I would assume that with those contracts, they've got to be at the very least informed. At the most, they've got to agree that it's allowable.
Oh yeah, and I'm not saying that they didn't agree to let this happen or anything like that. I'm just questioning on, is this going to actually pan out that it was a good decision for AEW to do this, or is this going to pan out to where it eventually bites them in the butt? Because again, you can't have just an ongoing working relationship, because if you're going to just intertwine these storylines of all these different companies working together just regularly, you're not then. You're one big freaking company then.
Right.
It will lose its feeling after a short bit. So again, what are you going to do?
Well,
that's why I'm just wondering, like, again, I just think I'm interested to see what happens. It could be cool because there's people over in Impact that I'd love to see work with the people in AEW. I'm just, throwing it out there on, is it a smart business decision? At least the way they handled it at first, because again, it's big shocky thing ends on Dynamite, and your cliffhanger is watch Impact on Access TV on Tuesday, which again, Access TV is one of those stations that's not easy to
hard to find.
Not everybody has it. I guess you can watch it on their Twitch stream for free, which I had trouble doing that even today. So
how old are you?
Old? I don't know.
I got it in no time.
Yeah, it was like freezing. I don't know.
Oh, it was okay. Well, anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I mean, it's like with anything. I'll give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt again, because like you said, there's some matches I'd like to see. I'd like to see the Good Brothers against the Young Bucks. That'd be kind of a reunion for them. And I think that'd be a great match. And who knows? And let's be honest, in all of this, it kind of got passed over. The question is, in my mind, okay, so what's Moxley do now? because Omega won, ran straight to Impact. Now, where does that leave Moxley? You know,
Moxley. Well, so first of all, Moxley's probably going to do not much. You know, he'll have maybe a couple little short feuds here because you got to think Renee's how far along I know.
Yeah. Oh, he'll definitely take the time off, but he may also just go to Japan for a while too, because he was one of the guys that has that in his contract.
Yeah, he may. Yeah, I don't know what he's. I mean, obviously, I mean, he's a star though for AEW.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're gonna keep using him.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, he'll get in. You know, he'll get in with some of these guys with, you know, like he'll get in a match with. I don't know who's some of the top 10. Well, like if Brody Lee came back, those two could have something. I'd be into seeing him and Miro.
Yeah.
Him and Brian Cage would be fun.
Lance Archer.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't say Lance Archer is because then they just do the match a couple months ago.
I don't think they ever did it.
I thought they did.
I thought they did not do it.
Was it because he got COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Archer? Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, so maybe that. I mean, who did when Dynamite went off air? I guess there was an in-ring brawl of Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and Blade against Jake Archer, and then the Lucha Bros.
Yeah, which is going to be a tag match tomorrow night.
So that'll be
fun too.
It was kind of funny to watch Eddie Kingston punch Jake the Snake.
Yeah.
I laughed a little bit. Yeah. It's because he looked like he was gonna crack Archer, and then he did this. Just turns around and clocks Jake, and then just gets made. It was hilarious. I was like, yep.
All right. So let's move on to our countdown, our ranking, our list for this week. This week we're going to discuss and rank the women's champions, and we'll get to that right after that. And so we'll start with number 5, and we're going to put your number 5 in our list. You and I differ on this, but Hikaru Shida.
Yeah, again, to me, the AEW women's division's been pretty non-existent. Your nameplate looks exactly like the nameplate from Brandy Rhodes' little cooking, drinking show on YouTube.
Oh, well, I didn't do it on purpose. Here, let me get that out of the way.
No, leave it. Oh, yeah.
No, that part I want out the way.
And then, so you know that's taken effect to her, and then just she doesn't cut any promos. Again, language barrier. The few times we've heard her talk, it sounds like she can say certain things very well, but I don't know if she can stray. The gimmick doesn't really do anything for me because it's just there's really nothing to it.
Well, there is no gimmick. She's just a good wrestler.
Yeah. So, and then also looking at the current the current 5 women that are holding titles right now, I just think in ring she didn't stack up to the other 4 at all.
Yeah, see, I disagree with you. I think she's better in ring than a lot of them. But
see, the only reason I say that is I have not been impressed with any of her matches. Nothing has stood out to me.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You can't put it on her that the people that they have her matched up with suck. You know,
no, that's not true because Ric Flair could fucking wrestle a broom for an hour and it will be the greatest match in the world. So I mean, if you're good,
are you? I mean, I just feel like I just feel like you're not watching that.
No, I just don't like. I've since I first saw her, nothing about her. Like to me, Riho is way better than her. Way better than her.
No.
It just to me, I've always wondered why she got the title. I just never thought she was the strongest on that roster. I think she's better than a lot of people on that roster because, like you said, there's people on that roster too that they still got a little ways to go. And if you really start looking at the backstory of a lot of AEW talent, there's quite a few people there who are very new. Like Anna Jay is still super rookie. Like,
I know
she has not been at it long at all. So I mean, you do got to take that in account. But I just I don't know, man. And I get like to each his own. Some people aren't for everybody. Like, so I get that, but for me personally, I just have not ever been on the Sheeta train.
Yeah,
like, to me, I've been waiting for them to just take the title off her, because that was the other thing too. Is I was like, she doesn't do anything promo wise, so like, how are we gonna build a story with her? Like and like we said earlier, I feel that WWE at least was able to do that. Io has this amazing gimmick and aura about her when she comes out, and Asuka's the same way. She commands and she comes out. And I just feel like Sheeta, like, to me, Sheeta looks like the junior version of what those two are. Like,
and I would agree with that. Although I think when I watch, I feel like she is a very good wrestler.
Oh, I'm not saying she's not.
But I have her number 4, obviously, and I just feel like they've got nothing going on in that division period, and that's not necessarily her fault. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily her fault. She can't. I mean, if you put any of the other women, and I'm not talking about Serena Deeb, because that's a whole different story, but if you put Io, Asuka, or Sasha in the same situation as Sheeta, I don't know that it'd be that much different.
Yeah, I don't know. See, the other thing too is I like Sasha Banks and her, like, to me, there's just no contest. Like, she's years and years from being anywhere on Sasha Banks.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Like, I'm just stacking her up to the 5 on the list.
Yeah, and that's what we've tasked ourselves to do.
And what are you doing? And Serena Deeb, to me, though, was someone that I think she's better. People just don't know it because we haven't seen it. Like, you have to go looking for it. Like, on the indie scene, man,
dude, it's the same thing. It's you've got a woman here that's the champion, and to be honest, I mean, she's okay. She's not. To me, she was last compared to the other 4. That's all, and it's just the same thing. She's got nothing going on. Here's the deal: the only matches that you see from your NWA Women's Champion are on AEW.
It's hilarious,
and that's a problem not only for the NWA, not only for Serena Deeb. Well, it's not maybe a problem for her; she's on a good show. But it's a definitely wave the red flag for AEW. Mm-hmm. I mean, in essence, they've got two women's champions. And let's be honest, if I could replace either of those two with Thunder Rosa, I would gladly do it. Because Thunder Rosa, I watched that match tonight that she had with Priscilla Kelly. She should have one of those titles, period.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's got the same kind of aura when she comes out, and with her intensity that Asuka or Io does very easily.
Yeah, not even just those two, as well as Sasha Banks and just all of them.
Yeah, but again, she is also one that's fairly new to this.
Yeah, she's only like 2 years in,
2 or 3. Yeah, her MMA background is what's carrying her through, and she, good God, dude, she fell on. I mean, again, we're off the subject. Thunder Rosa got dropped on her head on Shockwave, and I thought, oh my God, she's hurt, but she just pops right back up. She's so well conditioned and so wiry that yeah.
Yeah, and I never understood the decision of taking that title off her and putting it. The only reason I could think that happened is because obviously we're building to a her and Britt Baker thing now,
right?
And it almost makes me wonder when that's done if she's going to get an AEW title, women's title shot.
They definitely had to take the NWA title off of her, and I think the reason is because she signed a longer term contract with AEW.
See, now I'm curious though. Like, I wonder if she did or not though, because Billy Corgan's also come out and said that he still has her signed.
He probably does. It's probably see. I think
interesting to see what these contracts look like.
Who knows? I don't have that contract. All right. So and the rest of the way down, you and I agree. And so let's hit our number 3. which is Io Shirai. And we talked about her jumping off the ropes with that trash can. Or she jumped off the top of the cage, didn't she?
Well, because she was locked out. That I loved that part of that women's match. I really enjoyed the fact that they had the whole strategy of locking Io out.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how the typical heel backfire. You know what I mean? Where Candace does the pin, and he's like, "No, the match hasn't started. She's not in the ring." And like, what? And then you, as a fan, you're like, "Come on, you knew that."
Yeah,
it wasn't in the ring. Match didn't start to shit. But then it's like, but I love it. It's that old school heel feel of like, we have a plan. And then and that's cool. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, keep up the date on what ends up happening. And then man, it was just hilarious. Like all of a sudden, like they're just beating them all up, and it's like all is good, and all of a sudden you just see Io come off the top of the garbage can.
That was just one of the craziest things I think I'd ever seen.
Yeah, it was a fun match, man. Those were some top talent in that ring. Raquel Gonzalez really, I mean, she was already making a name for herself, but she shined pretty well in that match. Dakota Kai, like I said, every time she's on, I'm always like, why is she not getting the title run right now? Yeah. Who else was on that team, man?
So you had Candace, you had Dakota Kai, you had Raquel Gonzalez, and you had Nikki Storm.
Yeah, that's right. Tony,
to be honest, out of all four of them, I kind of felt like Nikki Storm was the one that got sort of like overlooked. Tony Storm, yeah. Nikki, why am I thinking? I don't know.
No, dude, that I was so pumped to see her in that match because I love Tony Storm, and she looked great. Yeah. Has Tony Khan come on it yet, or has he not been out there yet? Because I'm interested.
They're getting to the last 10 minutes here, so
it's funny. He's becoming more of an on-screen character, but is on Impact and not his own show. I don't want to. That's another thing. I don't want to see Tony become on screen. I kind of like that he's not.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will on a regular basis.
I hope not. Watch 5 years from now, we're going to be talking about a Tony Khan killed himself. Oh man, no, he hasn't been on. All right, yeah, man. But I mean, like I said, I had forgotten how good Io was till I saw the War Games again.
Yeah,
and man, she just, and it speaks to her charisma because again, she doesn't not a lot of mic work. It's all just how she carries herself, how she comes out. And she backs it up in the ring, man. She is a superior athlete out there.
Oh yeah,
so, man. I mean, to be honest, these top three are all pretty equal in my eyes.
I will say this. We'll go ahead and move to number 2, which is Asuka.
I'm surprised you have Asuka at 2.
So here's the reason I have her at number 2. After they kind of now, and I've said this because they've worked on her with her English, and she's getting better, but she's still not great. And they still, from the point when they started having to do the screamy scream with who's the one that left, that kept getting her head smashed in,
Kyrie.
Kyrie Sane. It became kind of a joke, and even when she found out that she won from Becky, it was still kind of a joke. And I just don't feel, there are still things about her that are great, and she's still a very good wrestler, but it's kind of like she's not the same as when she first came in. She's definitely not the same as when she was at NXT.
The hype is not there.
No.
I'll agree. When she debuted on NXT all the way up until her match with Charlotte at Mania, it was just a freight train from hell, man. You couldn't stop her. She was amazing. Yeah. And now she's more human, after that big streak ended and whatever, and Ronda Rousey, all that stuff. Like, yeah, she's more human now. So yeah, it is a little bit different. But man, she's so good. She always has been. She's going to be a legend of this sport if she isn't already considered. So,
She's very smooth. She's very. I didn't realize this. She's 37 years old.
Yeah.
I thought she was younger than that, but very interesting.
What funny about TNA?
Oh my God, that's all right.
That's hilarious. Who is the TNA or Impact champ right now? I forgot.
Oh, what's his name? Dan,
if you know, let us know.
Is it Swan? It's Swan.
Is it Rich Swan?
I think it's Rich Swan.
Rich Swan. Does he still come out with the dancing music and dances around? Yeah, man. And then they're doing interviewing Omega and Don Callis now. Don Callis, man, he was on the first cruise. Very nice guy. He got involved in some of the matches on there too. It was kind of funny. Or at least the last one. So, and then number one, we both got Banks, man. I mean, first of all, she's somebody that we've gotten to see her story. We've gotten to hear her tell her story. So, my heart always goes out to somebody that's like been a fan their whole life and turned that into a dream and a reality.
Right.
Which she has done. And, part of it for me too is watching her from NXT till now and seeing the growth and evolution of her in-ring, out-ring. But you can kind of tell her as a person too. You know what I mean? Like you can see that she's aged over the years into what she's become now. And I mean, her, Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte, those four, I mean, they're just the evolution of their careers and how it's happened at the same time and how they've all gone from kind of the same spot to the top together.
Yeah.
And now are all four going to be legends of this game. And another big thing for me too is her size.
Right.
She's a tiny girl, man. She's like an Alexa Bliss. She's short. She's not big, but man, you would never think that watching her in the ring, man. You'd think she's got 6 feet tall and can do whatever. Like just an amazing athlete in the ring. So it was an easy number one for me. But again, like I said, those top three, Io, Asuka, and Banks are all.
Yeah, on any given night, the top three could rotate at any point. So here's our quick rundown of top fives. And Ace is only wrong on 4 and 5.
Nope, I am correct.
Wrong on 4 and 5 because there's the right list right there. Absolutely.
I don't even look at that. I just think the top 3 are the actual real things, and those bottom 2, they're just they don't even know what they're doing with those.
I mean, here's the thing. At this point, let's be honest. I think they're both talented women, but I think by no fault of their own, they're in situations where they can't really shine.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they are talented enough to be champions. If they were in a different situation where they had more backing and more story and more direction, I think we may think about it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if we had more story to Serena Deeb, then maybe it'd be a little better deal. But I do feel like she kind of just came in, kind of just got her match with Thunder Rosa and kind of just won. And then, I think Sheeta, honestly, as overall would just benefit by having, like, she should be with Vicky. Turn her heel and give her Vicky so she has a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Just be a bitch in the ring, just beating people up. I would be more on board to be behind that gimmick and that version of Sheeta than what we're getting now.
I'll tell you what I would pay money to see. I would pay money to see Awesome Kong come back and be Sheeta's manager.
That'd be cool.
And not as a heel, just as a badass.
And anything's possible. Because I believe Awesome Kong still works for AEW. I think she had left to do Glow, which then pandemic happened. Everything went on. Now the word's been out that Glow's officially just done.
Yeah.
They're not even going to do the last season.
Which is a shame.
What's a shame is that wasn't pass interference. Anyways.
What can you do? What can you do? All right, my friend.
I mean, it was hard. Those top three were really hard because it was
when we do these lists that are restricted like that, I think it becomes very difficult because we don't get to go outside the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And we really sort of have to figure out why or what. I mean, obviously on this week and last week, we were both very, very close.
Yeah.
And it was only down at the bottom where we had differences, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was. I think at the top we switched last week. But that's a fact that and last week's list is now no good. Our men's champion list is no good, no more.
It isn't, is it?
Nope. So nobody will want to watch.
So where would we have Omega on there? Because I had him at number 2, Moxley.
I had Moxley at 1. You had him at 2.
I had 2. So if it was Omega, so
I don't know that I put Omega at number 1.
No, I wouldn't. I think I would have kept my number 1.
He'd still been above Roman Reigns and Nick Aldis, though.
Yeah, those would have been the 2. So he would have been 3rd. Because it's hard between McIntyre and Balor.
Yeah,
that's hard.
I know.
Really, and then on top of that, like you throw Omega in, like, could you imagine that triple threat match? Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre versus Kenny Omega.
That'd be insane.
Oh, it'd be so great.
That would be insane.
This is why, like, all these companies need to just quit being bitches. Pick one day out of the year and do just one mega show.
Well, here's the thing. When we think about all this stuff, as I recall, back at the outset of AEW, when the Bucks were talking about this stuff, they talked about trying to go back to a territory type mentality. And if this interaction with Impact is the case, then maybe they're on their way to doing that, and I think that'd be fantastic. But you don't bring the whole crew. You don't mix master them together. You bring your top guys over and dip the toe in the water. And because here's the thing, they did that with NWA, and although it wasn't stated.
Let me ask you this though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you even believe a territory type system could really like exist now though? Like, I get what they're trying to do, but I don't know. I think today in the age of wrestling, it'd just be like, well, why do you need to have 5 companies, but you're all just one company and y'all wrestle? Like, what?
But I mean, that's the point. If you do it the proper way, it's like, see,
right. But I think the proper way back in the day though was because there was no internet, so people couldn't just go online and be like, watch Dusty on the East Coast when they're on the West. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, I could watch every indie show in the world right now just by going on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it would be. I don't know.
So see, in my mind, point being, if you're a wrestling fan, you know who the stars, the top guys are of each promotion. And we all have, as you mentioned before, we all have these kind of ideas of, oh, that'd be a dream match. And maybe it is Kenny Omega versus Eric Young and not Rich Swann. Which, by the way, I was in watching Impact. I would say pound for pound, there was more ink on those wrestlers than anybody else. I mean, holy cow! Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just
I feel like Impact's like the crazy bunch. You know what I mean? Like that's all that, like, we're nuts.
Yeah, but. So if you have these kind of things, like because NWA and ROH were doing that with Nick Aldis and Marty Scurll before Marty ran into his problems, and it was enticing, but it was only, Marty'd come. He maybe brought one guy with him for backup. That was it. They're not oversaturating. They're not making it into a mix master where all of a sudden there's 18 guys from here. In certain situations, they would bring in more than one guy, like if it was a battle royal for something. I think there's a way to do it and make it really enjoyable, particularly for people that are fans and kind of try to follow everything. No Tony Khan on TNA, as reported by Dan.
Yeah, I think I just read that he sent like a thing in, so maybe they did like a pre-roll like earlier or something.
Oh,
I don't think he was actually going to be there, I guess.
Well, I'll go hunt it down on the internet, because you can watch everything on the internet.
They aired a paid advertisement starring Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone.
Okay.
Is what they did.
Perfect.
The two Tonys promoted Wednesday's AEW show,
which is going to include Sting and Shaquille O'Neal. I
am interested to see what happens with Shaquille and Cody.
I really am too.
Just like, what are they gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's all interesting. It's all. I mean, and to me, it's. Is it new to have a big basketball player in there? Certainly not. Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman were probably. No worries. Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman probably the best basketball players to ever wrestle. I mean, did the best job of wrestling for wrestlers. Did we go through that list one time?
Yeah, we did.
The best non-wrestler, the best celebrity wrestlers.
We did, yeah. And you know what I was thinking for next week's list is we could do with Sting making his surprise AEW debut, we can do debut / surprise return moments.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. I can think of 3.
Mine will always be when The Rock came back as the host of WrestleMania on that Raw when they announced it for going into WrestleMania 27.
Yeah,
nobody knew who it was going to be. Like, it kind of was rumored it was going to be him, but everybody was like, "It's The Rock, though. He ain't going to do it."
I'll tell you, the Edge coming back was pretty goddamn good too. Even though we knew
it was good, but I like the ones where you don't know, because I knew that was coming. Same with Daniel Bryan. We knew he was making some big announcement.
Yeah.
We're like I said, like it was kind of talked about Rock was going to do that, but not. And then it was him, or like Sting on AEW. That was completely.
Do you remember that Rumble that I was down and watched with you?
The Hardys at Mania.
The Hardys was awesome. AJ Styles was pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Rumble and AJ Styles was.
Yeah, I mean, and that one, it was him, and there were more than just him too, as I recall. That we just there were maybe 2 or 3 that we were just like, holy shit. But anyway, well, so let's do that. Best surprise returns. Dan and those of you watching, if you want to come up with your top 5 surprise returns or surprise entrances or whatever it is. However, it was a big surprise. Nobody knew. We didn't know. We'll do that next week on Tuesday at 8:00. Anything else you want to talk about before we hit the bricks?
No, I was looking. I guess they didn't really do much other than say that they're gonna have an announcement on Dynamite. Callis and Omega.
That's a good one there too, Dan. Absolutely.
Wasn't that the one where he blew himself up too?
Because it was so far to run.
Yeah, by the time he got down there, he was like, yeah, that's funny. Last week's episode with Wes Briscoe and I for the Briscoe and Big A show actually ended up not working out. So we're doing it this week, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And again, the guest will be King Mo. who you know from Bellator, Impact, and currently from Major League Wrestling, MLW.
Awesome.
So King Mo, that should be Thursday sometime. Thursday evening.
Make sure you check that out, Dan. That's Briscoe and Big A show. You can find that wherever you want. Well, wherever he broadcasts it.
Yeah, man. You just YouTube and Facebook. You can follow us on all that Briscoe and Big A show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, stay safe. Hope you all have a good week. And we will see you again next week on the 2 Count. Bye-bye.
Later.